Ladies, there are moments when life whispers. It doesn't shout. It doesn't clamor for your attention. It comes in the stillness, in the quiet nudges of the spirit, when your heart is open enough to recognize what your eyes may not fully comprehend. And today, I want to talk to the woman who has prayed, who has waited, who has surrendered her heart to God, asking Him to guide her steps in love. This message is for the one who's not looking for perfection, but presence, not noise, but depth. There are men who walk into your life loud, charming, dazzling, confident. And there are men who come in like a calm breeze, not because they are timid, but because they are steady, secure, intentional. And if you are discerning, if your spirit is sensitive, you'll recognize that the ones who stay, the ones who build, the ones who cover and protect and water your soul, they don't always make grand entrances, but when they show up, you'll feel it. If you see these 5 subtle qualities in a man, keep him. Not because of what the world says, not because he checks off every item on your list, but because sometimes God sends you someone your soul already knows. Someone who reflects the kind of love that doesn't just look good, but is good. The first quality is consistency, not just in words, but in actions. Consistency is the language of safety. It is not flashy. It is not loud, but it builds trust over time. A man who shows up when he says he will, who doesn't have to be reminded to be present, who does not leave you questioning your place in his life. He is showing you the fruit of maturity. In a world full of ghosting and gaslighting, consistency is a quiet miracle. It is a sacred kind of faithfulness. Not perfection, no, but a rhythm of reliability that says, you are seen, you are valued, and I will not play with your heart. The second is emotional intelligence. Listen, emotional availability is not a trend. It is not a bonus. It is essential. A man who can sit with your feelings without trying to fix you, who can communicate his thoughts without fear, who does not shrink when you bring your truth to the table. That is rare. And if you find him, do not take it lightly. And because it means he has done work. And I'm not talking about surface level work. I mean inner work. He has learned how to be in tune with himself, and therefore he can honor your emotions without judgment. This is a man who will not weaponize your vulnerability. This is a man who listens not just to respond, but to understand. The third quality, gentleness. I know the world has painted gentleness as weakness, but that is a lie. Gentleness is strength under control. A gentle man is not soft-spoken because he lacks confidence. He's careful because he respects the power of his words. He moves with intention. He doesn't need to dominate to lead. His authority does not require aggression. There is a divine kind of strength in a man who can be tender with your heart, with your dreams, with your pain. And it is often in that gentleness that God reveals his love. Because when a man loves from a place of stillness and reverence, he becomes a reflection of God's heart towards you. The fourth, vision. Not just ambition, but purpose. A man with vision knows where he's going. He may not have it all figured out, but he has direction. And more importantly, he desires God's will above his own. This kind of man will not be intimidated by your calling, because he sees your purpose as an asset, not a threat. He will cover your growth, not compete with it. He will partner with your destiny, not pull you away from it. And let me tell you, there is nothing more attractive than a man who understands that love is not just about how he feels, but about where he's leading. And if he's led by God, you can trust that where he goes, you can follow in peace. And lastly, integrity. Not just when you're watching, but when no one is looking. A man who values integrity chooses what is right over what is easy. He honors his word even when it costs him. He doesn't play both sides. He doesn't compromise his character for convenience. And in a world that often rewards shortcuts and celebrates selfishness, integrity is a rare jewel. If you find a man who lives with honesty, humility, and a heart that fears God, you found someone who can be trusted with your future. Because integrity isn't just about actions, it's about alignment. When a man is aligned with truth, he becomes a safe place for your love to grow. So yes, they may be subtle, they may not sparkle in a room, But these 5 qualities, consistency, emotional intelligence, gentleness, vision, and integrity, are the quiet foundations of a lasting love. They are not loud, but they are loud in the spirit. They are not always visible to the naked eye, but they are recognized by the soul. And if you've been praying for clarity, I want you to pay attention not just to how a man makes you feel in the moment, but how he holds your heart over time. Ask God for discernment, not just desire, because the right one will not confuse you. He will not cause chaos. The right one will feel like peace. Not because there are no problems, but because there is a grace on your connection that is not manufactured, it is ordained. There is a love that doesn't just look good on paper, but feels like home in your spirit. And when you see these subtle qualities in a man, when you witness the quiet strength of a man walking in alignment with God, don't let the noise of the world convince you it's not enough. Don't walk away from what you prayed for just because it didn't show up in the package you expected. Sometimes the answer to your prayers is not in the thunder, it's in the whisper. And if you see him, if your spirit recognizes him, keep him, not because you're desperate, not because you're afraid of being alone, but because you've done the work, you've healed, you've grown, you've waited not just for love, but for a partner, covering a reflection of God's grace. And now you know what to look for. You're ready, and real love, is ready for you too. Consistency builds trust without demanding attention. It is not the grand gestures that create safety in a relationship. It's the small, repeated acts of showing up, of following through, of being present. You see, anyone can impress you once. Anyone can charm you over a weekend. But consistency is what happens when the moment fades and real life begins. It's in the way he checks on you, not just when things are good, but when life feels heavy. It's in how he remembers your words, not just to win you over, but because he listens with intention. He doesn't just say what sounds right. He follows up with action. A man who is consistent shows you that his character isn't shaped by convenience. He doesn't shift based on what benefits him in the moment. His love is not conditional on your mood, your mistakes, or your timeline. There's something powerful about someone who doesn't have to be reminded to be present in your life. He makes space for you, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. He creates a rhythm where you never have to wonder where you stand. And that kind of rhythm becomes a form of protection, because in a world full of uncertainty, he chooses to be your constant. Consistency doesn't mean he's perfect. It means he's accountable. When he gets it wrong, he owns it. When he says he'll call, he does. When he promises something, he takes it seriously. And when he makes a mistake, he doesn't hide behind excuses. He steps into humility. That's how you know he's not just operating from emotion. He's rooted in principle. His words aren't inflated with charm, they're backed by character. You begin to trust not just what he says, but who he is when no one is watching. And the truth is, consistency often looks boring to the unhealed heart. It doesn't come with adrenaline. It doesn't sweep you off your feet every single day. But what it does is deeper. It lets you exhale. It lets you relax your shoulders, unclench your fears, and begin to feel safe in the presence of someone who is not here to perform, but to build. He's not in a rush. He's not trying to impress you for a moment. He's building something with you that lasts. Trust is not built in declarations. It's built in the quiet, steady repetition of care. A man who is consistent shows you that you don't have to chase him, decode him, or question him. You can just be. And when you experience that kind of emotional safety, you realize that love was never supposed to be chaotic. It was supposed to feel like peace, and consistency is often where that peace begins. Emotional intelligence creates space for vulnerability. It is the quiet, powerful ability to hold another person's truth without needing to control it, fix it, or dismiss it. A man with emotional intelligence doesn't get defensive when you express how you feel. He doesn't shut down or retreat into silence when things get uncomfortable. He leans in. He listens not just with his ears, but with his heart. He seeks to understand before seeking to be understood. His presence doesn't silence your emotions. It invites them. It tells you without words, you are safe here. This kind of man has done some work. Not just the kind that builds resumes, but the kind that heals patterns. He's taken time to understand his own emotional landscape. What triggers him? What soothes him? What scares him? And because he's familiar with his own depths, he doesn't run from yours. He's not afraid of your tears. He doesn't label your emotions as a too much. Instead, he approaches them with reverence because he knows that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a doorway into intimacy, and he treats that doorway with care. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean he always says the right thing. It means he is aware when he hasn't. It means he circles back. It means he doesn't minimize your feelings with logic, but sits with them until you feel seen. He recognizes that emotions are not problems to solve. They are invitations to connect, and that connection. It deepens not through perfection, but through presence. A man with emotional intelligence won't just be emotionally available during the highs. He'll hold you through the lows with the same steadiness. Because he's emotionally grounded, not emotionally reactive. He can name his feelings. He doesn't hide behind anger when he's really afraid. He doesn't ghost you when he feels insecure. He speaks honestly, gently, and with clarity. He's able to admit when he's hurting. And even more, he allows space for your hurt without making it about him. That is a rare kind of emotional maturity. That is strength in its most compassionate form. And what happens when you are with someone who leads with this kind of heart? You open up. You begin to bring your whole self to the table. Not just the polished parts, not just the easy to love parts, but the honest, complex, beautifully human parts of you. Because you know they will be met, not with judgment, but with care. That's what emotional intelligence does. It creates an atmosphere of safety. One where you don't have to explain why you feel what you feel. One where you don't have to apologize for having needs. One where love doesn't just touch the surface, but reaches into the depths of your being and says, I see you, and I'm still here. Gentleness reflects true strength and divine love. It is not weakness, nor is it passivity. It is the strength to choose kindness when power could dominate. A gentle man is not led by ego. He is not reactive. He does not need to raise his voice to assert his presence. His authority is not built on fear or control, but on care. He walks with a quiet confidence that allows others to feel safe in his presence, not intimidated. There's a calm in him that speaks louder than force ever could. A man who is gentle carries a softness that is rooted in self-control. He doesn't lash out when frustrated. He doesn't use your insecurities against you. Even in moments of disagreement, he chooses his words carefully, not because he's afraid to be honest, but because he honors your heart. He understands that love is not proven in dominance. It's proven in restraint. He could win the argument, but he chooses to protect the connection. That is strength. That is maturity. That is godly love. This kind of gentleness is rare because the world often confuses masculinity with aggression. But gentleness is a fruit of the Spirit. It is a divine quality. It takes strength to be tender in a world that teaches men to be hard. It takes security to love with softness when the culture says to guard your feelings. But the man who is truly strong is the one who doesn't need to belittle you to feel powerful. He doesn't shrink your light to feel brighter. He builds you up with patience and grace. His gentleness shows up in the way he handles your vulnerability. He doesn't rush you through healing. He doesn't pressure you to be okay. He sits with you in the middle of your storm and offers the kind of presence that doesn't demand performance. You feel covered, not corrected, seen, not silenced. He knows that your soul is sacred ground and he walks through it gently. That kind of love is healing. That kind of love is rare. Even when he leads with tenderness. He leads not with control, but with compassion. He doesn't make decisions to impress others. He seeks what brings peace. He doesn't just listen to respond. He listens to understand. In that gentleness, you see the reflection of Christ. Because Jesus too was gentle, strong enough to calm storms, yet tender enough to wash feet. That kind of strength is what transforms lives. So when you meet a man who is gentle, not soft but steady, not passive but peaceful, pay attention. Because that kind of spirit is not formed by chance, it's formed through surrender, through healing, through time in the presence of God. And if he's learned to carry his strength with care, he will carry your heart the same way, with reverence, with honor, with love that does not bruise but builds on belief. Vision reveals purpose and spiritual alignment. It's not just about having dreams or ambition. It's about knowing where he's going and who he's becoming under God's direction. A man with vision doesn't simply talk about goals. He walks in purpose. He may not have all the answers, and he might not be where he wants to be yet, but he's clear on who is leading him. He doesn't move aimlessly, reacting to life. He moves intentionally, aligned with a deeper calling. And when a man has vision, he invites you into a future that's been shaped by prayer, not pressure. This kind of man doesn't just make room for you. He makes space for God in everything. His steps are ordered, not rushed. He isn't driven by ego or competition. His ambition doesn't seek applause. It seeks impact. He asks God what he's building, and then he partners with that. And when you encounter a man with true vision, you won't have to guess if you fit in his life. He'll already see how your purpose adds to what he's building, and he'll honor that. He won't be threatened by your calling. He won't shrink in the face of your strength. He'll see you as a co-laborer in the vision God has entrusted to him. He understands that leading doesn't mean controlling. It means carrying the weight of purpose with humility. It means planning not just for success, but for legacy. He's thinking generationally. He prays not just for open doors, but for the wisdom to walk through them with integrity. And because his vision is rooted in God, there is clarity even in uncertain seasons. He won't always have everything figured out, but he'll know where to turn when things get heavy. He's led by more than emotion. He's led by revelation. When a man knows his purpose, you can feel the peace that flows from his direction. He's not distracted by comparison. He's not looking to be validated by every voice. He's focused, not frantic. There is order in his life, not just in what he does, but in how he treats people, how he makes decisions, how he approaches love. Because he knows that anything not aligned with his purpose is a distraction, even if it looks good. And that kind of clarity allows him to choose you with intentionality. He's not looking for a partner just to fill space. He's looking for someone who multiplies peace, multiplies strength, and multiplies purpose. Being with a man of vision means being with someone who sees beyond the now. He's not chasing moments, he's building something meaningful. He prays about legacy. He considers your future children, your spiritual growth, your shared impact. And because he sees that far, he loves that deeply. He protects not just your relationship, but the future it carries. His vision becomes the soil where lasting love is planted. Love that doesn't just feel good, but produces fruit. Integrity is the silent protector of lasting love. It is not always visible at first glance, but over time it becomes the very foundation that holds a relationship together. A man with integrity doesn't need to make promises just to impress you. He makes choices that honor his word. His actions match his intentions, and he doesn't bend the truth for convenience. Integrity is the quiet strength that shows up when no one else is watching. It's the voice that keeps him honest, the standard that keeps him accountable, and the compass that keeps him aligned with what is right, even when it's hard. This kind of man does not live two lives. He lives one authentically. He's the same person in every room. You don't have to wonder if he changes depending on who's around. His loyalty is not situational, and his faithfulness is not conditional. When he says something, you can trust that he means it, not just in word, but in deed. He doesn't use manipulation to protect his image. He doesn't twist the truth to escape responsibility. His integrity is not performance, it's a lifestyle. And that kind of man becomes a safe place, not because he's flawless, but because he's honest. He knows that character is not built in public, it's cultivated in private. It's formed in the quiet decisions he makes when no one else is checking. Will he stay true to his values when temptation knocks? Will he own his mistakes instead of hiding behind pride? Will he lead with truth when lies seem easier? A man of integrity does not need pressure to do the right thing. He chooses it even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs him. Because for him, peace within is more valuable than praise from others. This kind of consistency builds trust that goes deeper than romance. You feel it when he tells you where he stands. You feel it when he admits his shortcomings without shame. You feel it when he keeps his word in the small things. He doesn't exaggerate his intentions or keep you in a fog of confusion. He's not playing games. His clarity is kindness, and his truthfulness is love in action. That's what makes him dependable, not just because he shows up physically, but because he shows up with a pure heart. And when integrity is present in a man, love doesn't have to be guarded. You don't have to protect yourself from deception. You don't have to read between the lines or carry the weight of uncertainty. Integrity gives your relationship a covering. It shields it from cracks that come from secrets and half-truths. It allows love to breathe, to grow, to rest in the security of trust. Because when a man honors truth in every space of his life, he will honor you with that same truth. He won't just say he loves you. He will live in a way that proves it. When it comes to love, real deep, sacred love, it's never just about the surface. It's never just about chemistry or compatibility. It's about alignment. It's about discernment. It's about recognizing the kind of love that isn't loud, but lasting. The kind of love that shows up in the small, consistent ways and makes you feel like your soul has found a home. Because while the world may teach us to look for the biggest, the brightest, the most impressive, heaven teaches us to look for fruit. And fruit doesn't always grow where the spotlight shines. It grows where roots run deep, deep. There are men who come into your life as a lesson, and then there are those who come as an answer. But the answer will often look different than what you imagined. He may not be the loudest in the room. He may not have all the accolades or the flash. But when you see consistency, when you witness emotional intelligence, when his gentleness covers you, when his vision includes you, and when his integrity surrounds you, you are not just looking at a man. You are looking at evidence of God's hand. You see, love that lasts is not built on adrenaline. It's built on trust. It's not sustained by attraction alone. It's sustained by truth. And the man who embodies these 5 qualities may not always make a grand entrance, but he will bring peace, stability, and spiritual depth into your life. He will love you in a way that brings you closer to who you are in Christ. He will not pull you away from your purpose. He will remind you of it. He will not confuse your value. He will affirm it with how he treats you. Not just when things are easy, but especially when they are not. And yes, he'll still be human. He'll have moments of weakness, moments where he misses the mark. But you will know he is safe, not because he never fails, but because he takes responsibility when he does. His strength will be in his humility, his power in his patience, and his leadership in his surrender to God. That is the kind of man who becomes a covering, not a burden. A partner, not a project. A blessing, not a... So if you find him, if you recognize even the beginnings of these qualities in someone, don't rush past it. Don't let the noise of this world convince you to overlook what heaven has carefully formed. Take your time, pray, seek wisdom, and let peace be your confirmation. Because when God sends someone into your life with the kind of love that reflects his nature, it will feel different. It won't be perfect, but it will be pure. It won't be without challenges, but it will be rooted in something stronger than just feelings. It will be rooted in truth. And when love is rooted in truth, it grows, it heals, it lasts. So if you see these subtle qualities in a man, qualities that don't beg for attention, but speak directly to your spirit, cherish them, water them, honor them, because sometimes the quietest love is the one God whispered just for you.